will convert your children. Happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it.
What? Like, that sounds so, like, it's egregious, it's evil, it's very, predatory. Here's the thing. If we do lose all our rights and this ends up being a thing, like they take away same-sex marriage, they take away our ability to be able to see our spouse in the hospital, they take away our ability to have discrimination protections in the workplace, things of that nature. If all that gets taken away, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up these clips and I'm going to say, I freaking told you so. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Vicky from Voices with Vicky. And before we get started, please like, comment, and subscribe to help me out on the algorithm because, well, this isn't easy. So thanks for all the support, all you loyal listeners out there that have come out to support me. It's really been awesome. Some of you truly are just amazing free thinkers and great people, and it's so wonderful to have you here, and I really can't thank you enough. I've been reflecting a lot lately on the LGBT support, probably because it's an election year and there's all sorts of stuff going on and all kinds of people on the internet discussing it and the decline of the support in recent times and why that might be. And I got to thinking about the why behind it again. And I'm sure many of you can just name stuff right off the top of your head as to why maybe some of the LGBT support is lacking or it's slipping or it's not in a incline anymore, but it's in a kind of a free fall. Some people would say that eventually we're going to lose all our rights due to some of the stuff that we've been seeing. So I wanted to do a little reaction of some of these clips that I'm sure some of you have seen before, or you're at least familiar with some of the things that I'm about to show you. And some of them are just so senseless and stupid and make us all look so ridiculous. And it's exactly what we didn't want to happen. And here we are. So let's take a look at these. Oh my God. What I don't understand is how and when someone thought this stuff was a good idea. Like, who approved this? Who was like, hey, let's chant, we're here, we're queer, and we're coming for your children. And by the way, like, you keep your kids. I want nothing to do with that. I don't understand. It's obnoxious.
Will convert your children. Happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it.
What? Like, that sounds so, like, it's egregious, it's evil, it's very, predatory. Here's the thing. If we do lose all our rights and this ends up being a thing, like they take away same-sex marriage, they take away our ability to be able to see our spouse in the hospital, they take away our ability to have discrimination protections in the workplace, things of that nature. If all that gets taken away, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up these clips and I'm going to say, I freaking told you so.
Just like you worried, they'll change their group of friends. You won't approve of where they go at night to protest. Oh, and you'll be disgusted when they start finding things online that you've kept far from their sight. I will convert your children. We're coming for them.
Oh my God, this is like some sick Brady Bunch.
The Brady Bunch.
My God. I just can't believe this even exists and people are like okay with it. Like, this isn't funny to me. Like, I feel like it's this bold, rebellious thing. Like, oh yeah, we're coming for your children. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, what? I'm sorry, but I don't see how this is helpful. Like, please show me how this helped people. Show me how this helped the LGBTQ community in any way, shape, or freaking form. Look at these people. Look at this.
We're coming for your children.
Oh boy. Oh, Bud Light was the sponsor. That's funny. That worked out really well for them. They worth billions of freaking dollars. Thank you, Dylan Mulvaney.
This month, I celebrated my day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it.
Now, this is just... That's cute. You're parading through the streets. Gay pride, whatever this is here, you're completely naked, or at least partially naked. And there could possibly be children around. And you're cheering and you're happy. This is good. This is what you want for representation. This is what you want right here. Unbelievable. Interesting how they have a mask on. Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. Wow. These people do not represent me as a person. They just don't. Sorry. I don't want anything to do with it. You can have it. So what, you're going to call me a self-hating queer now because I disagree with parading around in the streets naked at pride parades, possibly in front of kids, as being a good thing? I can't wait for it. Yes, please tell me I'm a self-hating queer, I'm a self-hating homosexual, because I'm not lockstep with this? Get out of here.
Wait, no, ours are really, you'll have to get one annual
What's this guy even doing? So we're going to do another one. And I don't know. Apparently today I'm in the mood for torture. So here we go.
A family can be made up in many different ways.
It's called SOGI, for Sexual Orientation and Gender Identification, a curriculum that teaches public school students across Canada to celebrate the homosexual lifestyle and that gender is fluid. In other words, your gender is not dependent on what parts you were born with, but rather what you feel like in the moment.
There's people that are boys, there's people that are girls, there are people whose gender might be a little bit of both or might even be neither.
Lessons include books about transgender children, such as 10,000 Dresses, and songs like the Rainbow Song.
Gender won't decide the choices we make. Some boys like dressing.
This is kind of a hot take and maybe an unpopular opinion, but this thing with gender and gender expression and it being about how you feel, kind of, to me, at least in part, translates to, I don't know, having a personality. Like, why is this? They're acting like they're simplifying something, but to me, they're overcomplicating something that boils down to having a personality. Like, your sex can't change, you know? So they're replacing the word sex with gender. And even though they're kind of mishmashing them together still, and really it's just like about your personality. Like, look at me. Like, I'm a total freaking tomboy. I'm gay. It doesn't mean that I'm not a girl. It just means I like some boy stuff and have some male traits. It's completely normal. And I don't have to go and like label myself over it and be affirmed outwardly by other people to to accept myself and accept my body and accept who I am. I'm not saying that being trans doesn't exist, because I do think it does on a very small scale. I do think that there's people with gender dysphoria that perhaps need to transition as a last resort, but I don't think that's something that a child is capable of fully understanding. I mean, they're just being taught this stuff, and they're being taught it in a particular way that isn't necessarily rooted in fact. It's rooted in ideology.
Some girls like catching snakes.
The SOGI curriculum started in British Columbia in 2016 and is quickly spreading throughout Canada.
I just thought, who decided that this was okay to teach our children?
Author and inspirational speaker Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson is a leading voice against the SOGI curriculum.
I'm sure everybody
And
hates
we are
her.
seeing the results of that now, because some kids are reacting very emotionally and saying, and they're in fear. Will I suddenly struggle with feeling like a different gender inside of my body?
Carrie Simpson of Culture Guard, another leading opponent, calls the curriculum nothing short of child abuse.
All those beautiful qualities that make young girls, beautiful girls and women, are being basically vilified. The things that make our boys boys are being, taken from them.
And they're using stereotypes to justify this. It used to be that we didn't like labels and we didn't like being stereotyped. And we were saying, don't label me, don't put those labels on me. It wasn't healthy, right? And I kind of still most of the time agree with that. I mean, I understand some people need, some labeling to figure themselves out, or they're looking for definitions so they can, discover who they are, whatever. But it's really not that complicated. And I think we're just making it more complicated than it needs to be. But this thing with trans and like, oh, you like blue and you're a girl, so maybe you're trans, or you're acting like a boy, or you like to have your hair cut short, so that must mean you're trans. I mean, there's literally people out there that talk about this all the time, that say that they're being told that they're trans just because they're not traditionally feminine or traditionally masculine. It's getting ridiculous. And to me, it's almost teetering on being a little bit homophobic.
So things of equating young men to being strong protectors is something that's now evil.
But Morgan Auger, a transsexual and supporter, claims it's about acceptance, not indoctrination.
The idea is to teach kids that there are gay kids and there are trans kids and there are trans.
No, there are no gay children. There are no trans children, especially. This is where we've crossed the line. And this is why the support is going down. It's because of people like this, and it's because of pushing this stuff onto the kids. If you had left it at, okay, you're a grown adult now, you do what you want, whatever, that's fine. Or even if you just left the curriculum to like high school kids, but these kids are not in high school. These kids are little kids. They're starting them young in this stuff, teaching them that there's trans kids and that there's gay kids. Like, stop it. Just stop it. Let children be children and stay out of this. And, parents, I don't know what the actual law is in Canada surrounding parental rights. I don't know if it's actually even a thing there, which is scary. But here, they're in the United States, they're slowly trying to strip parents of their rights. And they've done it in a couple of states, California being the one off the top of my head that I can think of, where if you don't affirm your child, you can get your child taken away for abuse. Like that you're abusing your child because you're not affirming their gender identity, which is unbelievably just totally disgusting that they're putting government and governance over parents and their families. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And how can that possibly be abuse, that you don't want your child to change their sex? Oh, I don't know, at the age of 8, you don't want them on blockers. You don't want them making irreversible decisions, because I don't even want to hear it, that don't even get on here and tell me that it's reversible. These, puberty blockers and all that, like all that stuff at this point has been almost completely debunked. And everybody's just so sick of it. They're sick of the arguing in circles about this stuff that we know damn right well is a problem for kids, and it's problematic. It's confusing for adults. How do you expect it to be clear cut for kids? You just can't. It gets me really frustrated.
Parents and gay parents in our society, and everybody's wanted and desired. After all, that's what our Human Rights Code says, and it's the role of schools to teach the following of our laws, right?
Simpson disagrees, saying she sees SOGI's real goal as
altering our culture from a heteronormative society into one where anything goes, no boundaries, no values, no morals. It's a hedonistic cult, basically, what they're implying.
Another blaring example,
no gatekeeping.
Drag queen story time. It's happening in Canada and America, where some public schools and libraries invite drag queens, some dressed like horned demons, to read to young children.
And it's a social deconstructionist agenda. They're using children, little 5-year-olds, to accomplish this, and parents are waking up.
Why do drag queens want to sit there and read to little kids? Like, I'm not saying they're all bad or it's all, you know, evil or something, or that all these people are bad, but like, why? Oh, us adults over here, we know what goes on at drag shows. We know what goes on inside gay bars. We understand that it's an adult space. Why are we now expanding it into our education system where there's children? No one can really answer that question other than, oh, we just want to teach tolerance. Okay, well, there's a billion other ways that you can teach tolerance besides putting like drag queens in front of little kids. That is, who thought this was a good idea? Who approved this stuff? Again, if our rights get taken away, I'm going to pull these clips and I'm going to be like, this is why. This is why. And they won't, there's a sector of people out there that will not listen. We have woken up and realized that this train is off the rails and is heading down a ravine and is about to crash. And you have yourselves to blame for this.
And saying no.
When asked about parents' rights, OJ says,
well, actually, in Canada, parents' rights are limited and children's rights are put ahead. So the child has the right to be protected from the parents when the parents behave badly.
Canada is known as,
oh my God, and this person thinks they have the authority to police this and to control children. See, it is nefarious. It is egregious. It is just downright. They were so gleefully happy to be like, actually, parental rights are limited in Canada and children's rights come before. Wait, do they though? Because they're kids. And kids can't consent. Or is that not a thing in Canada either? I don't know.
It's one of the most gay-friendly countries in the world, with many of their largest cities featuring their own gay villages, like here in Vancouver, which has literally rolled out the Rainbow Road.
That's great.
Most gays, like village resident Davey DiCarlo, support SOGI and limiting parental rights.
The change that we have to see is sometimes the parents, and the kids are doing actually really okay.
This is very scary stuff.
Longtime Vancouver area pastor Kevin Kavanaugh says this is far more serious than most Canadian Christians realize.
Our problem is not the teachers, the educators, the administrators. This is a battle in the heavenlies.
He says Satan is going after their most vulnerable, the children.
And the little girl came home in tears because the teacher had told her, since she was playing with some toys in the class that were deemed to be masculine in nature, that she was likely a boy in a...
I can't handle this. So you're telling kids, again, based off of the stereotype, that because they're playing with toys, like, why do you want kids to be trans? Why are you transing kids? Maybe she's just gay, or maybe she's just kind of masculine and she's not gay. Like, what? Like, I'm sorry, but this is so suspicious to me that like anybody would defend this and be like, oh, it's fine. No, just let kids explore and play and be who they want to be. And they're going to go through a lot of changes in their lives. Like, they're going to be one way one day and the next day they could be something else. Just let them do it and don't label them. Very controlling. It's very much rooted in ideology. It is, this collective thinking that if you don't act this way and you don't behave this way and you aren't on board with this, then there's something wrong with you. You have the problem. You need help. The gaslighting is just off the charts, off the freaking charts. And I'm really concerned, when I go through this stuff and I start looking at these clips again, it brings up all those feelings again that like this is not going to end well. And it's like, after everything we've done to fight for the rights that we have, and this is where we've taken it. I mean, if somebody had told me that this is what it was going to be, I never would have believed them. First of all, I never would have thought it would have come to this ever. But I don't know. Maybe I would have done something differently. Like, what do you guys think? What if you guys could have looked into a crystal ball and foreseen some of this insanity before you, would you have done something differently when you were fighting for your rights, let's say? Would you have not done it? Would you have done something in a different way? Would you have stopped at a certain point knowing that it would have went too far and tried to counter it earlier? And I almost feel used in a way by some of these like people. Some of these people are grifters, first of all. They're just trying to make money, but some of them I think are just disingenuous, and they don't really care about LGB. They only care about the QIA plus or whatever. And I feel bad for transsexuals who just want to blend in and live their lives as well. I don't think they wanted any of this either. And that brings me to my next segment. The LGB Alliance had a conference, and there was an issue at the conference. Check this out.
Activists have resorted to some desperate lengths. On Friday afternoon, thousands of crickets were released at the annual LGB Alliance Conference, which promotes lesbian, gay, and bisexual rights. And it caused the 600 attendees to evacuate the room. Activists are said to have dropped plastic sacks filled with the insects during one of the last talks of the day. The group Trans Kids Deserve Better claimed responsibility for the stunt, saying, "Our crick kids put a stop to their hate, masquerading as an event for social progress, and we couldn't be prouder." Okay, well, I'm delighted to say that I have got from LGB Alliance, Bev Jackson, here to talk to me about it now. Bev, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
So we've had a statement from this group that are claiming responsibility. Obviously, there's an ongoing investigation.
Of course.
But what on earth are they talking about? Hate? What do they mean by this?
Well, they call themselves Trans Kids Deserve Better. And of course, they've claimed responsibility. We don't know that yet, but that's what they've claimed. They have done actions in the past, really quite dangerous, climbing walls and occupying buildings for...
I just want to interrupt, and I want to say, if you really think that trans kids deserve better, then you should be out there doing something more constructive than this. Who in the do you people think you are? What are you doing? You are acting like you support children, and yet you're acting the most immature and childlike ways possible. And I'm just done with the whole thing. If you wanted people to support you, well, first of all, you ran out of that support a while ago, I think, from a vast majority of people. But now you've just set it over the edge that you're not going to get the support that you're looking for. And you're outing yourselves even more as being disingenuous, lying, and not really having a leg to stand on. It's like, if you've got something to say and you want to support something and you really feel that it deserves what you think it does, then stand up and say why. How are trans kids real? Why is transing kids okay? And what are all these amazing benefits of doing so? And is it really saving lives the way you say it is? Because the last time I checked, it's now taking lives, not saving them. And it's making things worse for kids who have autism, depression, anxiety, and the list goes on and on and on. And they're conflating these things with being trans. You know, people like to sit there and say that LGB would be nowhere without trans people. Obviously, trans people were part of that movement. They didn't make the whole movement. They didn't do everything. Yeah, they were part of it, but they weren't all of it. So stop with that nonsense. Stop, rewriting history and acting like we're nothing without you, when really it's quite the opposite at this point.
Trans kids do deserve better. They deserve better than to be told lies that they might have been born in the wrong body. They deserve better than to be told that these hormones and surgeries that they're clamoring for will somehow solve all their problems. Many are on the autism spectrum. Many are struggling with their sexual orientation. We know that. They deserve better than to be told that we hate them.
Yes.
They do, and they deserve better than to be labelled trans when they're going through all the turbulence of adolescence when your feelings about yourself are in constant flux.
So guys, please let me know in the comments what you think of all this. And, you know, I'm sorry for getting so freaking fired up, but I just can't help it. You have to help yourself. And looking for affirmation and external validation over and over and over and over and over again, and expecting everybody to bow down to you, like, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Not everybody's going to like me. Not everybody's going to like the fact that I'm gay. There's going to be people out there that can't stand me or whatever. And it is what it is. And that's the thing about all this that I just don't think people get, this generation. And it's not all about you. It's not all about other people controlling what other people think. You know, you just have to do you. And you have to learn to cope with those adversities in your life. I'm so sorry that your parents didn't make you aware of this sooner. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. And again, let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll see you next time.